You know, it's another one of those beautiful days out here. Let me check everything, make sure everything is right, because you know these things will act like it's gonna be right and it don't be. This is a good show today, a very good show. This Black Outrage. I'm your homie Hood. Okay, come on, TV. Gotta do the stages now. All right, we're officially live. Yo, I appreciate y'all stepping over here. I had a big question I wanted to ask. Why is it so hard for black people to do their own thing? Why are they so afraid? We know that Hollywood is over there, and we know that it's always been there, but I believe it ain't never going nowhere. So with the technology and everything that's available today, it's open for anybody and everybody to create at leisure and create from their own pretense and perspective. But you don't get that a lot. A lot of people be afraid and spooked. So Black Outrage, I want to talk about that. We actually got artists like Tyler Perry, who is one of the best artists out there doing what he do, but he's scary. He don't really do stuff like that on black issues, like Benjamin Banneker, the first black person, the whoever. He doesn't really talk about those kind of issues and shit, so that makes him a lame. You know, even though he has a name out there and he's been doing his thing forever, it's just like, damn, you should probably talk about your own cultural. Damn, it didn't change, did it? Yeah, it did. It better have. So it's like, why do those guys do that? You know what I'm saying? But hey, it's their own goddamn balance. But I just don't agree with that shit. I mean, I just their life is their money, and you really can't tell people what to do with their money, with their life. But at the end of the day, you could judge it, and they could judge your ass as well. You know what I'm saying? So where I do, and I am a fan. I've always been a fan of those guys. I like their stuff. I like what they do. Sometimes I don't like that they don't really speak on issues. I remember being in film school when I was going to film school, and I would be like, "This is the best of a story." And then you and later around people that really want to tell story shit. Black people don't feel like can do it, or they want to compete with you, or whatever the shit going on with other folks. But it don't really stop you because it's like, yo, I got to do this. You know what I'm saying? I want to tell stories. I want to go out there. And so with Hollywood being an option that you can go out there and get a job in Hollywood and work in Hollywood and do things in Hollywood, that's something that you think about. But I never let that be the leading aspect of my creativeness. It's like, nah, I'm not finna just let no just because I shot, you know, just because I worked in this capacity, that it's all of a sudden going to be the only way that I work. So I'm going to make movies even if I don't work in Hollywood, even if I am not a person that creates in that realm, because I believe that my stories and my information should be out there. The messages I want to put out should be out there. So I don't believe I'm going to wait and not do nothing until I get some kind of steps happening or somebody white acknowledge me. And that's all I don't like. I wish brothers would think deeper. Let me see if you can see it on the other end. Oh, wait. Okay, no, it don't work like that yet. I gotta do it like this. And just for the hell of it, I'll leave my cover up there because I want y'all to see this side. Flip over. Oh, damn, it ain't flipping over. What the hell going on? Okay, the fuck? Weird shit. These motherfuckers would put a commercial on. It just played a damn commercial like 5 seconds ago. Like, what the fuck? You got these motherfuckers throw commercials on you. I don't give a fuck what you doing on YouTube. Then it's the slow ass commercial. Like the rest of the motherfuckers be gunning past and shit. It's slow ass commercial. Get the fuck out the way, YouTube. We ain't paying your bitch ass shit till you pay me, motherfucker. Damn, another commercial? What the fuck? Fuck they doing? That lame ass shit out of here. I'm about to say they put another one on. Damn.
Good. It's just the fact that they don't ask me because I am that good. You know, I'm sorry. You bring up so many things, and so many things run through my head. I forget to talk about something about quick thing. One of the things that I was, my last 9-to-5 job, I was one of the highest black executives
What up, Mitch?
in Hollywood. I was head of the post-production ancillary markets at TriStar. I started off as a driver. Within 3 months, I was head of the department, of that department. So the vice president of productions offices was right next to the post-production offices. This was when we were in Culver City, in the high-rise in Culver City. But I would walk by his secretary's desk, and she would giggle. I did that 2, 3 times, and she giggled at me. And so finally I said, what is so funny? What are you laughing about? And she hemmed and she hawed and she said, well, I don't know if I should tell you this, show you this. I said, what is it? What is it? So she finally said, come on. This is younger white girl. And I went behind the desk. She looked around, make sure nobody was watching. She opened her drawer. She pulled out this sheet of paper. And it was A-list black Hollywood actors. This was before I had done anything hard. I had done a film with Rudy Ray Moore. That was my very first movie. I hadn't done the color for, it was called Disco Godfather. Thank God, Rudy Ray Moore, thank God for Rudy Ray Moore. And it was A-list black Hollywood actors. I said, what is it? What is it? So she finally said, what is so funny? What are you laughing about? And she would giggle. So I did that 2, 3 times, and she giggled at me.
I'm playing it
The
again.
vice president of productions offices were right next to the post-production offices. And this was when we were in Culver City, in the high rise in Culver City. But I would walk by his secretary's desk, and she would giggle. So I did that 2, 3 times, and she giggled at me. And so finally I said, what is so funny? What are you laughing about? And she hemmed and she hawed and she said, well, I don't know if I should tell you this, show you this. I said, what is it? What is it? So she finally said, come on behind my desk. This is younger white girl. And I went behind the desk. She looked around, make sure nobody was watching. She opened her drawer. She pulled out this sheet of paper. And it was A-list black Hollywood actors. This was before I had done anything hard. I had done a film with Rudy Ray Moore. That was my very first movie, Disco Godfather. But so she pulled out this piece of paper. A-list Hollywood black actors. Denzel, Sam Jackson, Wesley, a couple other names. I can't think who it was. You would know them. Can't think of their name. And it said, Arthur and James on that list. It's like, wow. I hadn't done anything. But see, that's the whole thing about Hollywood. You have to understand, it is such a small industry. Everybody knows everybody. And everybody talks to each other. See, I was on that list. Well, but throughout the years, I got kicked off that list because I'm a boat rocker.
All right, so that's where we gonna stop it at right there, real quick. Hey, yo, what's up, Selena? What's up, Yolanda? This guy definitely is somebody you recognize. He played in Speed back in the day. That was his major movie, Speed, with Keanu Reeves. Yeah, Keanu Reeves. I think that's his name. That guy, Keanu. Yeah, they made a movie together called Speed, and Sandra Bullock was in it. What's up, Yobanda? Anyway, it's Yobanda. Yeah, I see that. It's not Yolanda. Okay, and then he also played in Five Heartbeats. Five Heartbeats is a black movie made by Robert Townsend, and it was Big Red. Yup, you got it. Yup, damn, I was trying to say it, bro. Your Bond, beat me to it. But so, in that regard, he was talking about how his time in Hollywood, he thought that he was going to be the next top actor, the next top guy, because this is what happens. But he realized right away, quickly, that it didn't work out for him like that. You know what I'm saying? So he said these people basically kicked his ass out the industry. They had his name on a list of people who was rocking the bells, who was going to be out there doing things. And he didn't know that because it's like a small circle and shit like that. But I only played his segment because I wanted to talk about how, and the fact that he's a boat rocker, so that means that you're not going to make too much time in Hollywood, because Hollywood is made up of gay people. It's made up of people who basically know somebody, white people, Hispanic people, but not so many black people. But to me, as an artist, as a filmmaker, and I've been filmmaking for years, and I did a little stint in Hollywood, which is boring as shit to me, but as a creative, when I went to Hollywood, I had like 14 independent films that I make myself, and I'm the writer, I'm the director, I'm the creator. So it was not that I was going there to be like, can you please give me a chance? It was one, I wanted to see what it was, how it is on that level. And I ran into a gay person who thought they could try to disrespect me. I had to check the shit out of him. But at that point, he started crying, which was weird to me because we both were men. But it ain't give a fuck because as men, you got to take care of yourself and respect yourself and have self-respect. And that's why, in that regard, obviously, I started working preparing my pictures not too far after that. But it's a point of saying that you have to have self-respect, and you have to be a creator that's not going to let these clowns in any kind of district or any kind of level or any kind of position block you from being a creator. And if, like in this guy's position, when he was an actor, we all loved him, we all respected him, then he just disappeared. And it's like, damn, what happened to this nigga, man? You know what I'm saying? Indigenous Americans need their own thing. Hey, why don't you do it for them then, my nigga? You got to set it up for them. Don't play with it. It's internet time right now. Get on ChatGPT and say, yo, Bonda finna do shit for these Indian motherfuckers. American Indians, indigenous Americans, as you call it. Make it happen for their ass. Don't we ain't talkers over here. We make it happen. We work for black motherfuckers over here though, so that's what we are. Hit that like button, show some love. Don't fucking play. Hit the like button. We over here fucking with y'all, talking with y'all, giving y'all information, talking this shit about blackness. It's a black outrage. It's doing it. We doing it. All right, then. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Your Bonda. See, that's what I like, man. People that's activated, just like this guy right here saying. Let him finish this little component right here in this particular segment.
You know, me being the only black person doesn't mean shit to me. You can't pat me on my back and say, you're one of the good ones. You can't handle me like that.
I heard that before too, your Bonda. I ain't gonna even lie. I really did hear that before.
And I live my life by, and I say it in interviews all the time, I live my life by, I don't be free till you be free.
And that's B. That's B right there. I guess he said it, the key word that's actually like, we can call that the theme of this particular live, because as a creator, you're doing things that you know it's going to be pushback. You know, you might not have the money. You might not have all of the things, the elements to help you get to a particular thing that you're trying to achieve. But you can't let those things stop you. You have to look at it like, I am doing something that's against the grain. I'm doing something that nobody else would even dare to do. Because you can go get a job in Hollywood. You could work in Hollywood. That's not really that hard to do. If you push and you put your heart into it, you can get there. But then to me, your message is quiet down, your image is not spoken of, then your particular stories aren't told. And so where you might do have a credentiality of having a white boss, and they might be somebody important or somebody with a big name, and they letting you be associated with them, that's gonna make you feel great. That's gonna be able to tell your family, like, look at me, man, look at, man, these people fuck with me, man, look at everybody. And you'll be happy. And there's nothing wrong with that. But look at all of the messaging that you're not able to put out. And then you have to work with this person, whoever wrote the script, and this person, whoever, and a lot of this shit is bigged up off of money. So that means you might not even get to tell the stories that you want to tell. You know what I'm saying? And it's fun. It's great. I mean, come on. When I was there, I was able to work. Never give up. You're right, your Bond. I was able to work on a show called Mission Impossible 4. But was that big deal? It really wasn't. At the time, it was. When I showed up on the set, when I saw everything, the guy who called me to come to the set, I was so happy. I was like, this is my homie. You know, you feel like these motherfuckers is your big brother, the way they show you love on the set and bring you around and show you everything. But at the end of the day, my messages was closed down. I couldn't talk in the film no more. I had to work a job and did the place and then be able to sleep and then bed the job. And then you hearing other people talk about, man, I had to miss my son's graduation this year. Or I had to do this, but it's like, because I had to work. And you'd be like, damn. Oh, one guy, no lie, he was in the wardrobe department. So I was walking past inside the studio lot, and I'm just walking past, and I see him. He's a black dude like me, but he kind of gay acting and shit. So I don't know him personally, so I'm steady keep walking. And then, we say what's up to each other, and then he flipped to a dude that quick. He flipped, and then like a dad, like a father, like a man. And it was like, damn, I know what I was saying when I was walking towards this nigga. But as we got this communicating, he was a real dude. And he was talking about how sometimes the job is rough where you miss out on your family events, but your paycheck is dumb. And I was like, damn, is that something you want to have to challenge yourself with like that? My kid was very young at that time, but he had a kid that was graduating from college, and he had to miss the graduation. And he was just like, that's one of them things that reverberate in his brain. And I was like, damn. And then he was working in wardrobe, like it was in that build, in that truck where all of their clothes be. And he was just like, you work motherfucking 16 hours a day. It's no fucking with your check, dumb. But you really don't get a chance to spend it. So it's like it's a give and take with everything that you do. And that's why I was wanted to talk about this particular thing, because you could see I put the Tubi thing up there. And when I was creating movies in my early years, there was no Tubi. There was nothing. So I call myself Hood Films. And so you just got to make a hood film with your friends or whoever you're around, and then you sell it yourself. I never thought about, I gotta go get a deal in Hollywood. I gotta go make this person meet me. And that's only because as a younger artist, I was looking into people like Spike Lee. Spike Lee was talking about how he went to school to go and become a filmmaker. He said, I'm gonna go to school, and at the schools was where the equipment was. And I'm sitting in my hood, and I'm sitting back like, you got to go to college to do filmmaking. Like, this is like way out of the fucking way I want to do it. But this Spike Lee on TV, and what else you gonna do? So I'm thinking like, okay, all right. Well, Spike was saying that, yeah, what's good? He was like, Spike said that's where you gonna get the equipment from. So he showed to go to a place called Morehouse University. Morehouse, I think that's in like in Atlanta, some shit like that. So when he went there, he met his filmmaking brother, which is his homie Ernest Dickerson, which is his cameraman. So then they went to NYU. And so after NYU, is a master's degree program at NYU. So they started getting this master's degree in filmmaking at NYU. And he made a movie called Bad Stop Brooklyn, like it was an independent film. Spike Lee made one of his first joints. And it got some love. So people started fucking with it at the film festival. At that time, film festival was big because they didn't have streaming. So some white dudes saw it at a film festival, and then he started getting his love and shit. Then he made a movie called She Gotta Have It. And then these movies just took off. And then it was like that. Now Spike Lee is a man. He is the man in the game. And so, and now he's telling us in the 80s some shit. I'm like 14, 15. And there was another filmmaker that you probably never heard of. His name is Matty Rich. Matty Rich is like an innovator. He made like one movie and it reverberated. Now I'm gonna tell you, this is some critical shit about filmmaking. This is another thing I'm telling you about The Voice. And I'm not saying that these guys did not go to Hollywood and make money as Hollywood filmmakers, but I'm saying that in the beginning stages, they didn't let their voice get swallowed up by the fact that there's a big behemoth out there called Hollywood. So I'm not gonna create shit. They wasn't afraid to put their voice out there. Matty Rich had a movie called Straight Out of Brooklyn. Now, this movie didn't come on movie theaters. It didn't come on like TV and shit like that. It came on like public radio, public, what they call that shit? PBS. So that's the only way you could see it. So we was, as kids, they would play it commercial free. But it was a black movie. You could almost call it a hood movie because they made it in Brooklyn. It was black people. So even Matty Rich, they had interviewed him on the TV in Chicago, but it was like the news. So they interviewed him, and it was like, how the fuck did you make this movie in New York? Like, what the fuck? How you don't have no money? How the fuck did you produce this? And he was like, it was drug dealers in his hood that ran the block on the corner. And he said, so he was like, I wanted to make a movie, but I had to go through them. He said, so before I even talked to them, he went to the library in New York, and he said he read every single book in filmmaking. Everything he could fucking find, he read it. And he was like, so now he felt like he had understanding on filmmaking. This Matty Rich. So he said he went to the local drug dealers on the corner. He was like, yo, I want to make a movie. Da, da, da. They was like, hell no, we getting money. Fuck you talking about? He was like, look, listen, it's going to be some shit. They was like, look, it's 6 p.m. We're going to flip off the block and we gone for a minute. We come back, you got to get the fuck on. So that's what he did. He shot the movie. It's called Straight Out of Brooklyn. You can see that anywhere on YouTube. It's all over the place. This mad years ago. So when I was a kid, I heard him say he read every book. And okay, you see in the future today, that movie Straight Outta Compton, that's really just a play off of his title, because his movie came out in like 87, 88 or some shit, like 91 or whatever. It was so many mad years ago. And so now you see Straight Outta Brooklyn, Straight Outta whatever. These came up, Straight Outta Compton, they came off of his title from, obviously it was a song too for the dudes in the NWA, but they had the title coming off of his movie because it was Straight Outta Brooklyn. So they called themselves NWO, saying, we Straight Outta Compton. Obviously Straight Outta Compton song went way bigger than the actual movie, but that's where it derived from. So, and that guy talking about he read every book in the fucking libraries, I was like, damn, okay, that's what I gotta do, because there was no fucking internet. So I had to go out here and read all these goofy ass books, and I did that. So then that made me feel the same way. I could make a movie. I did the same thing. I went to my homies in the hood. I was like, yo, hey, I want to shoot a movie. And then niggas is like, man, we ain't definitely on no silly shit like that. The fuck out of here. Motherfuckers showed up one day. The following day, they didn't show up. And then the day after that, they did show up. So I could actually pull up that movie. No, I'm sorry, they didn't show up the next day. We shot on a Saturday, so that Sunday nobody showed up, and I was like embarrassed that not there on my camera and shit. Like, what the fuck? And then some other dudes that was out there, they was like, man, you should have used some motherfuckers that be out here all the time. And I'm thinking like, well, why don't y'all be in here? And he was like, hell no. And then like within a couple of seconds, they were like, you know what? Let's do it. And then that's how the movie got done. And it's on YouTube now. I shot it in like 2001, and you can look it up. It's called Hood Life. But I'm gonna show you like the ending credits of it right here. It's on my channel called Hood Films TV. But at the ending credits and shit, like if you was ever watching my movie, and this is totally at the end of it, you know, I want you to see how the end, like this is when the police pulled up on. This is actually was the very first day we were filming, and everybody was standing around. It was so super bootleg. But at the time we were filming, the police pulled up, and they came like 7 cars deep, and it looks kind of. Oh damn! Can you see any of it? Y'all can't really see it because it really just show humans. You know what I'm saying? Like you see the guy walking right there, so you can't see the cop. But if you see it on Hood Life on the website, then on YouTube, you can see the actual human faces and shit. But let me cut to the second half. This the police pulling up on us and shit. So, but you can mostly see the humans and shit. This the actual end of the movie. So this like the credits. This like the bloopers and shit.
Hey man, when you get down to the bakery, man, get dude that, man, and keep an eye on him, man. I'ma holler at you in a minute. Dig, man. If dude on some bullshit, man, we gonna have to holler at you, man. Cause the last nigga you brought through here wasn't nothing, man. I'm telling you.
Damn, y'all couldn't see it. Everybody laughing because the gun was a prop gun and it flipped over, but it mostly just showed humans on this particular green screen. That's why you can't see it. But if you ever go to Hood Life on YouTube, Yusef Hood, this is my movie. Yeah, and then you would say Hood Films, you put my movie. You Hood Life, Hood Films, it'll pop up.
I got text that's gon' blind you and smoke on right behind you. Coming with some more shit and get off that whole shit. Wanna bring it to the faces, then we bring it back.
So I created this. I created this movie with the aspect of thinking that I want to make a movie, and I'm not gonna fucking go get a job. I'm not finna go get a 9 to 5. I'm not about to do none of that shit. I'm finna go make a movie, and that's really what the whole point that I'm making. It's like when you make your mind up as a person that's gonna do something that it's nothing to do with nobody else or what they got going on or where the big joint is. It's like you go do it. You know what I'm saying? So what I needed to do was first I had to study those guys that was prior older than me and made movies that was way bigger than what I was doing, but they were older than me. So I used them as like a system of what I can do because of what they did. If they did it, then I can fucking do it. And I remember the guy who was Spike Lee's camera guy. They met in college, and then they went to US. They went to NYU, which is a master degree school in LA. New York. NYU Tisch. It's a film school. That's what Spike Lee and them went, him and Ernest Dickerson. So they made a movie, but Ernest Dickerson, you all know who he is. He's not famous like that, like name and face, but you know his movie. And then when I say his movie, you're going to be like, get the fuck out of here. But this is actually his movie, his first movie when he stopped working with Spike Lee, because he was Spike Lee, man, they was working on movies like Mo Better Blues, Jungle Fever, Do the Right Thing. They was together making, Spike Lee was the film, was the director, and Ernest Dickerson was the cinematographer. So Ernest Dickerson stopped working with Spike Lee because now it's the time he about to go out and step on his own. And the first movie he did was called Juice with Spike Lee, with Tupac. So you heard of that movie before, I know. But that was his first movie that he did when he got away from with Spike Lee. And I don't think he did some more movies like that. But the biggest movie he did to time right now is Spike Lee, and Omar Epps was in it. Was Juice and Omar Epps, and you already know Tupac was the main character of that movie. So that movie was a fucking legend, but you could see his filmmaking acumen was coming up to a straight high level, and Spike Lee just never stopped going. He started doing directing Nike and Michael Jordan commercials, and Michael Jordan said he's not gonna even do the shit if Spike Lee don't direct it. And even Prince said some shit like that. They was all kind of helping each other out, you know what I'm saying, being at those mogul statuses. So, and imagine if they didn't do that for Spike Lee, he probably wouldn't even have his name recognition to this level. So it's more than just the learning part. It's also about connecting to people and talking to people and being in the same level of other folks who want to work with you. So your personality, you got to be able to meld with those folks. So when you see, this is just another scene from my movie and shit.
I still from my man's from Cali on that grain. See, look at them motherfucking girls over there. You don't like this around here, child. Uptown, Ronald. Where you get this from? That's what I'm shouting. That's like Cali. Yeah, this is decent right here.
It's a little glitchy because of the way we're doing the green screen, but you can see I had it all there. You got the music playing in the background. Let's just let that sound play a little bit. You got the 2-shot going with the actors. You know what I'm saying? You can't see the house that they sitting on the porch right here, but because this green screen just shows the humans. You know what I'm saying? But you can see that my vision was coming to life, and I didn't allow the fact that there was no Tubi at that time or there was no HBO that I wasn't going to film. And you can hear the music playing, and the music was given by my homies. And so we could just fast forward through the movie, and you can see different elements of the movie that's playing out. You know what I'm saying? These two guys helped me make the movie. Rest in peace to the guy, the short guy with the braids. That was J-Dog. He's gone now. And then you can see the other scene that this my buddy Chop. He actually was the main character in the movie as well. And I was like, okay, we're gonna go. We shot the movie in front of the movie in front, then we shot the scene in back of the same house. You know what I'm saying? So it's basically using what we had. We didn't allow not having certain equipment to stop us.
See, that's what you gotta holler at him about. Shit, man, I'm working on something out great. You know, some getting outside of ass, some getting with the thing, get on down, Okay, I ain't got no problem really with the thing, man, but y'all know that's my demonstration over there, so I got to get 30% overhead on all that. You dig what I'm saying? Man, I can understand that shit.
So you can see we had a storyline, and we made sure that we was able to pull that storyline off with, communicating with each other. And that's just one of my movies. I don't have a lot of my movies on YouTube because at that time we was just doing it. We was just doing it. It wasn't necessarily like you was going out there to actually, like I guess you could say get the consent forms and all that shit because we were younger and it wasn't even on your mind like that. So you just like, yo, we filming. And then obviously today, all these things that you filmed when you're young years, you got this the rights of people. So you don't want to really violate folks and shit and put the videos up and then people be like, damn, man, I didn't ever want nobody to see that. I thought that was just us hanging out. And it really was just us hanging out. So as I became a professional filmmaker, I didn't necessarily put a lot of those movies out. That one I did because that was like one of my first ones. So I said, nah, this one got to go up. These are my boys. I know these guys. But I did other films with a lot more characters, and sometimes you just X them. Because when you're doing it again on your own, you're doing it. You're not really sitting around like waiting on something. So you're constantly making a new joint. And that's another thing that I consider myself always about to do. Make a new fucking joint. We're not sitting around. Let me let old boy speak a little bit more to the older guy and shit, because we all know who he is and shit. See what he got to say.
You can't handle me like that. I don't give a damn. And I live my life by, and I say it in interviews all the time, I live my life by, I don't be free till you be free. I still get stopped by the cops. What makes me different than you or you or any other black person? Nothing. Look at all the brothers. Every one of the brothers that become billionaires get taken down. Who's the latest one?
Diddy.
Nope. Tyler.
Tyler.
Thank you. There it is.
Yeah.
That man's a billionaire, and he is being taken down. But the funny thing about it is, all the other brothers get taken down by white women. He's getting taken down by a white man.
Cartel balance.
I ain't gonna lie, that is next level crazy, because you would think somebody at his level, he would have probably found his lover, even if it was a damn man. But a guy, I can't understand why you would get to that level of financial aptitude and then you fucking still relationship broke. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of times that when people be phony, it's gonna be hard to meet somebody real. And Tyler Perry, by all accounts, by me, and I'm just opinionated because I don't know him. Well, he seems phony. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that his acting is not cool or he ain't that good as a creator, but I just think that he just don't seem like a hundo. Not only that he ain't, because I don't know him, but I just think that a hundo meaning that you just gonna be yourself and everybody gonna accept you as who you are. And it don't matter if they don't. You might not fit in everybody's group. You might not fit in everybody's clique, or you might not be down with every. They might not come to your party. They might not drink a beer or call you on your birthday. But that's not gonna make you feel bad or be like, I gotta still go over there and be in this clique, or I don't like them because they're not around me. You're just yourself, and everybody that don't like that, then God bless them, and that's okay for you. And so I think that Tyler's not like that, because I would even say Diddy is it as well, because the guys are too late in life to not be in a locked in relationship. You like, you talking about some 50-some-year-old men and you still searching. It's like, what the fuck was you doing? You on this earth like everybody else. Like, you really ain't met nobody to like you back and shit. Like, what the fuck? All these decades with all that kind of money? Like, come on, man. The logic is you could just literally go back to a girl you knew from high school or grammar school. I always liked you. I think we should get together. Now, boom, you should be a little bit better off. But those guys be around other races a lot. They into Hispanics, they into Asians, they into white men. So they're not really around black people when you get to those levels, and that's really a symptom of that. When you're a certain age of richness or opulence, your family members will try to hook you up with people. They'll just be like, "Hey, come to the church," or sister, what's her name? Niece is in town. But these guys be trying to find love inside their jobs, inside their mix, and that's going to be a bunch of people who probably got just as many mental problems as your own self do. You know what I'm saying? So flip back over. Let's see what my man got to say. We're just listening to it because we can talk about it.
But it's going to be able to beat these charges.
Yeah, because they are relatively ludicrous. But it's part of the Me Too movement. It's like,
I'm going to answer your question in a second, James.
You can be accused of something and be guilty right away. I mean, how many guys have been accused of something and had to leave their job the next day? If you go to my room at 3 o'clock in the morning and I look at you and I say, you're in my hotel room, and I say, here, take this pill. And you take it. Because if some guy or some woman, if anybody calls me if I go to that hotel room at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I say, first of all, I wouldn't go into the room at 3 o'clock in the morning. I got enough sense to know 3 o'clock in the morning is not business time. It's outside the 9 to 5 hours. And I certainly am not going to take a pill that you give me.
Obviously, he's talking about those kind of people that fall themselves in those kind of predicaments when they make it to Hollywood and they still trying to utilize their sexual access to somebody, and then it turned bad. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the people didn't look at those women who was going against Diddy as if they was victims, and you can be mad at them if you want to, but the proof is in. So, but as far as looking at people that's creative, he did another interview, and I was really trying to find that, if I could just scroll down and get to it. Excuse me. But that was just basically a way of saying that you gotta have a level of strength when you're around this stuff, especially in the creative side. You know what I'm saying? Because people will play with you and play on you if that's what you're down for. You know what I'm saying? Because that's really what it is. And I don't think nobody can do none of these things to you or anybody if you don't allow it. If you just come in with it, that's not me. I don't do that. Then it'll be kind of hard for somebody to actually do that to you. You know what I'm saying? So, but it is what it is. Like, who am I to judge somebody? They got their own objectives and shit like that. My man asked a dope ass question. Let me get to this little segment though. But before I even do this segment, I'm gonna answer the question. James White Jr. 10 was popping. He said, "What's the message you try to push in your movies?" Well, I think that if I just look on a general sense, it's like you could say brotherhood. Right? And then you can also say black forwardness. You know what I'm saying? Even though it comes at it a little bit because you see the people and it'll be looking like what they show you on the news, and they'll be like, oh my God, I don't like them looking at them folks. But that's what the stories is. And the stories is going to probably push in that kind of Not I ain't gonna say black excellence and all that shit, but I say black forwardness. You know what I'm saying? Like ultimately, that's where it's trying to push you towards. So I got the Tubi logo back there because it's to show that that's the location where you're gonna see the kind of movies that we create. Now, why Tubi allowed themselves to be the place, why they opened up, why they created that shit for them, I don't know. But as we have looked in the past, Fox is the people who own Tubi. They've always been the ones who pushed the black stories. Like when I was a kid, you could watch, the Wayans Show, you could watch Martin Lawrence and shit like that. That all came on Fox. And then when I got older and I really wasn't watching TV like that no more, you could see Jamie Foxx was on there. They used to put like late night shows. I think like Magic Johnson had his own like one of them stand up, what they call like a talk show and shit like that. Arsenio Hall, I think too, when I was even younger, he the one they kicked him off on Fox. You know what I'm saying? So it was like they was always showing black shit. They used to do comedy shit when I was a kid. That's where you could see it at. So then that flipped to them just going white, and then they came back with the Tubi lick, and now they're allowing black people to put their movies up there. So it's like a section on Tubi that you could put, you can watch black movies, and then it'll keep playing. And it's all kinds, it's every fucking city, and it's almost like an influx of a new hip hop. Like when hip hop came about, and then it would be like all came from New York, and you just only was hearing it from New York, and then all of a sudden you start hearing hip hop from all over the fucking country, from whoever, no matter what city they was from or what state, you could hear their music. It wasn't always on the radio. It might be like on underground radio stations, or it might be like that. At that time, it was underground radio stations because there was no internet. So, but today it's the internet and it's the streaming platforms. So when I was making my movies, I knew I had to go try to talk to a distributor, try to talk to somebody white, and they're gonna have a parameter. They're gonna say, okay, your movie gotta be this minutes, your movie gotta have this this look of it, because at that time digital cameras was just coming in. So a lot of people wasn't having movies to make a long movie with actual film, because that meant you had to have an actual budget. So when digital came in, which is like 96, 7, 8, mostly like 98, it was here. Now it's here. So you can get a camera, it costs crazy money for somebody in the hood, but you got ambitions. So you get your camera and then you shooting, but then you don't have no editing system because there was no computers. The computers that was around, you couldn't afford it. So you had to go to school if you was going to get to the equipment, because they had outpriced you. You was no way you could financially pay for none of that shit. It was digital, but it was new. So thing like HD, the cameras was like $15,000 and all this dumb shit. You like, what the fuck? Can't afford that. So the equipment at the schools allowed you to edit your thing, and now you can showcase it to people. But you had to put it on VHS, which you probably don't even know what the fuck VHS is. But VHS is like a big ass cassette tape, and it was probably about this big, this long, to be exact. It was about this long, but it's about this thick. And then put that in the machine, and that would be your movie. But you can only make those one by one. So you didn't have mass burners of those. So if my buddy gave me like a one burner, so I would have to burn it one, and it was real time. So if the movie was an hour, then it took an hour for it to copy, and you would copy your movies like that, which took a lot of time. So you would hit record, and you would walk away, and whatever, do something, come back, it kick out. You're like, okay, one done, and it took a long time to make copies. So when you got time to sell it, you really was trying to make a great sell, because it took a long fucking time to actually create the product. So not even the filming part, but now when you talk about making a product to actually sell to somebody, then you go into the different places to go print the sheets, and at that time it was VHS stores around the state, so they would get deliveries of their movies that they're going to rent, people was going to rent, like Blockbuster stores, but it was like smaller versions of that too. And when they would get deliveries of their VHS tapes, they would throw away the outer plastic that it came in. So the VHS tape was the size I showed you, but it came inside an outer plastic case, and we knew that. So we would go up to them and say, don't throw those plastic cases away. I want to put them on my independent movie. And they'd be like, okay, cool. So they would give you like big-ass garbage can bags of just maybe 500 of them little fucking plastic containers. And then when you made your copies, you could slide yours in there too. And if a person was grabbing it, they'd be thinking they bought one from those stores, because it looked the same. That's what you was doing, trying to mimic what they sold in the stores. James Jr. said, I support Tubi, but they have to do better in the ending of their movies, because they will leave you hanging. Well, I look at it too, and I agree with you, because everybody's not going to be able to do be a perfect artist. And that's what Tubi is all about. It's a place for you to get your films to somebody so that you can talk to them. So if I was you, my broski, I would just get on the internet and I would go find that director and I'd tell him like, yo, hey, why did you in a movie like that? You should have did this, that, and the third, because that's exactly what Tubi is allowing you to do. You know, think about it. Another person probably would not be able to talk to them because if I wanted to reach out to Steven Spielberg, like how I'm gonna do it? You know what I'm saying? If I saw Martin Scorsese movie, well, how I'm gonna say something to him? You see, these people are fucking billionaire, major, whoever the fucks, and I'm not gonna see these dudes. You know what I'm saying? So, or I speak to him. Or if I had a chance to speak to him, they'd be like, "Who is this motherfucker?" So that's all I'm just saying. Like, if this is what today's times is allowing you to do, you can actually go talk to the people who you want to speak about, or even have listen to you, or if you admire them. So, but these are just the things that I want to talk about and play about. But I'm gonna go back to Boy speaking because I found the second part of which I wanted to speak about this first, but he speaks on some things in this particular segment. So let's get to it.
What it takes for you to learn. Well, I was telling Wade, before, I think, well, I guess the mic was on, but I don't do talk shows or podcasts anymore, hardly, unless I'm getting paid for them. But I did Willie's because I've known Willie for so long, and I listened to some of the stuff he says, and it's worth listening to, because you don't talk about a peach cobbler recipe. You talk about things that matter to us. So I'm happy to be here to do this.
It's so easy to become a podcast.
Uh-oh, we got a dumb commercial. We got a dumb commercial, y'all. So let this shit go past, and it's there, and we back.
Because it matters. And that's the only stuff that I do is stuff that matters. And
This ain't what I'm trying to get
so
to.
scared of what Master gonna
Here
think.
you go, here you go.
Yes, has been independent. Matters. And it's been driving me crazy because most of the stuff that I've done in the last 10, 15 years has been independent moves. And those people, a lot of those people are so scared of what Master gonna think that they cut out all the good stuff. Because they're afraid of what Master gonna say. Let me ask you a question. Do you really think Rocky was a good movie?
I fucked that part.
Like
You're skirting, you almost got there, but you still, but I'm almost positive. It won the Oscar. When was the last time they had a white heavyweight champion?
All right, that's
It
not the
is
same.
because of movies and television and books. Rocky won that Oscar because they were thirsty for a champion. And champions showed up. And they cheered. You know, brothers will come back from Vietnam and say, what they, the Vietnamese women will come up to they try and get some Vietnamese women to go with them. Brothers would come back and say, the Vietnamese women would say, too biggie, too biggie, too biggie. And then they would want them to turn around and pull their pants down so they could see their tails. Because Vietnamese women thought they had tails. Where did you learn that from? Where did you get that idea?
Yeah, James.
good old USA.
From television, from books.
Yeah.
That's how important this stuff is. And when they affix history to their liking by making movies about it. And if we don't learn from that, if we don't make movies that make us look like the heroes and not just 15, 16-year-old killers, and that's what I keep trying to teach these young people. But they're so afraid that Master ain't gonna like it.
Good. And that's really the whole gist of what I was trying to get to with this. So as you can see, you see mine's in the back. That's a Hood Films. That's my brand. That's my brand. And I wanted to have my own brand because, I ain't gonna lie, it came from a white guy influence. I was a very young guy as a kid, and my father took us to see a movie called Star Wars. Obviously, you get older, you learn about who the fuck the people are that make it, and then it was just really enthralling to know how they made it. And then this guy, particularly the director of that movie, the man who created that movie, his name is George Lucas. He actually spearheaded digital filmmaking. So it's only digital filmmaking because of him. Because when he got ready to go back, because that movie came out in like 1977, or 78 or some shit like that. I'm born in like 73. So I had to get older to see it. So then by the time I'm way older and you find out how he created it, what he did, all the things, because I'm studying filmmaking. And so then you see that he became just what he did to make the movie. And then you see what it did. But now he's about to make the movie again. And so that's why they was doing so many interviews about him at that point. And he's making, I think this had to be like 1996, if I'm not mistaken. So he was trying to make the movie again in 97, some shit like that. And then he made it with these new cameras that he got made on his own. He knew what high definition was. He told these people to create these cameras, and boom, it's created now. I think Sony is the people who made the cameras for him. So now it's a digital thing. And so people just, it never stopped. To this day, it's more shit coming out every weekend at the fucking, yeah, Rocky was a good flick. But my point I'm grabbing at is that technology was pushed, the story had to push the technology. So in the George Lucas mindset, he didn't let shit stop him to make his movies, nothing like that. So the same thing like this guy is saying, why don't these guys make stories that they want to make? Why are they afraid? What, you afraid Master gonna stop you? Master gonna get you? He said, look what they're doing when they are in control of your image. Make sure you hit that like button too, y'all. Show some love out there. I appreciate y'all watching. This is Black Outrage 18, and this is your boy Hood. I'm talking to you right now. And so he said that the images they put out there, like the people in Vietnam, they thought the black people had tails. Now that sounds funny when you're hearing it, but this is like a yesteryear mind time. I mean, at that point, and it's like, what the fuck? But could you imagine somebody asking you, do you have a tail? It's really weird, but the only way they know that is by them getting the TV shows or whatever movies that they play in a particular area of the world. But you're not from that area, so you just like, man, this is all far-fetched as hell. But it's the imagery that other people are in control of. So this is what filmmakers and people with fearless mindsets are all about. It might not be so much about being a billionaire or a millionaire. And this is what the second segment was about. Even when you get to that level, oh, I'm a billionaire, I'm a millionaire, look at me, I got the money. Whatever your personal default or defect, whatever your personal situation is, that can be your demise. You know, these guys having a more affinity for Asian girls or white girls or Hispanic girls, that's how you go down. That's not building you up. That's not being like, oh, wow, look at him. He got 14 white girls. I wish I was him. It's not like that. You get the ones you get and your ass go down. You know, you basically went down in another sense, but just as fast as Emmett Till. It didn't matter how long you had him. Maybe you got to touch her. He just whistled. Maybe you got to lay in the bed with her. Maybe you got to fucking have a baby with her. Whatever you did, but you still went down the same. And now your whole world is all crushed because of the girls you into. And the same thing for Tyler Perry. $1 billion fucking brand, but you wear pantyhose all day in your movies, and you wearing dresses all day in your movies, but you're funny. You make people laugh. There's nothing wrong with creating shit and motherfuckers enjoying it and having a good time laughing. But then it's a question in people's mind because it's like years and you keep playing the same character. You're not even really creative with coming up with a new thing. This is like really, you're a lock and load. Nothing wrong with that either because why stop what's already working. But when a dude come out saying that you got with several dudes, or even if the innuendo come out, and it's like, well, damn, we kind of, he's so locked into being a woman. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, is that what you are ultimately in your mind? Maybe you're not. But why ain't you doing stuff that matter? Like, why ain't you making storylines about the history of the inventors that came about? Even if that ain't your leg, that's not what you want to make. You ain't into that. You could just hire younger creators to do that shit. Hire production companies like mine to make it. You can do this with that $1 billion, but they locked into white booty and Asian booty, and that's it. It locked in, and so that $1 billion really just basically got you closer to some shit that anybody could really get. If you go to any bar in America, you can get a white girl. It's not that fucking hard. You can just they're not gonna be mad at you. You can buy a drink and get a white girl. So what is the win? Like what are they gaining? Are these white girls like from some Persian island or some shit, and if you have a baby with them, they gonna be the prince or some shit like that. Like, cause that's what it would make me think that you would be messing with some chick or them like that because you want to marry into this $1 billion family or some shit like that. They own islands and fucking planes and shit. No, they boning regular chicks. Anybody can walk up on any fucking person breathing. You could be a dude with a nice car and shit, and you can pay your condo 15 times without being broke, and you can still get them girls. You'll look rich to us. You'll, oh my God, girl, you don't never got no problem with this kind of, and you ain't winning. Like, these women ain't even like married. You know how in the cultural countries, they'll be like, you can marry my daughter, but you bring me 4 cows and 5 Lamborghini trucks or some shit. They ain't even doing that. They just basically meeting any random, whoever the fuck breathing and be like, I'm gonna go down for you. And even it would even probably be more acceptable if these guys that's billionaires, that's black people, that's film artists, that's musicians, that's creators would marry the motherfuckers. And then it could probably be less of a fucking problem if it break up. But you just basically just, I mean, cause damn, 50 something motherfucker, you act like y'all ain't had none. You ain't got none. Like you ain't had none. Like you just woke up and let you out to prison and it was like, gonna fuck every bitch breathing. But no, y'all been having coochie and money, and or for Tyler Perry booty, for 30 years. So it's like you ain't got to the point where you can sit back yet. You know what I'm saying? Like your hip still work. You know, most motherfuckers at y'all age, your leg you can't walk up the stairs fast no more. So I don't even get it. You know what I'm saying? But it's not my business. But when it comes to the creator side, it's like I think you rather do that than do something that's going to bring awareness to blackness, that's going to make people understand the likelihood. This is what my movie Kill a Rapper is about. So I made a movie, and it's on Tubi, and it's called Kill a Rapper. And you can look it up. You can see it. It's dope as fuck. But my point I'm making is that this is what I had to do on my own, where I'm not going to get the support and connect from those kind of guys. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I fuck with Quentin Tarantino films heavy as fuck. But sometimes he go a little heavy on the fucking racism and his shit. We all know he do a whole bunch of nigga saying in his movies. But you know, that's his creativity. You know, but we're not really talking about white people's movies because the idea that white people movies, because they have the inside, they're in. So it's going to be easier for their films to get seen and get promoted and get taken care of and get pushed because the system is theirs. It's their system. So it's just like saying anything else. You know what I mean? Come on. We're working inside their system. This is why, as a creator, you might have to work outside their system to tell the stories that you want to tell. But Tyler Perry, being a person who built up a brand in a level that he did, you know, he's a success story. You know what I'm saying? But is what he doing a very great impact on people? It's the question. So here's a movie I made. You know what I'm saying? And it's on Tubi right now, but I'm gonna just show you a couple of scenes.
And it just seemed like things was way more simpler then, man.
I played main character too.
Nigga, more money, more problems.
Just chill.
Niggas miss you in that hood.
Yo, I ain't around here no more. They just glad to keep missing me.
Well, at least you got that good old job to keep you away from here.
But man, I had to snap with my boss the other day at work, man. Yeah? He tried to embarrass me in the meeting in front of everybody, man. I went off on that bitch ass thing, man. Fuck that motherfucker, man.
Bro, you still taking your meds? Don't fuck around and lose that good job up in there. Fuck around, be out here in the streets with us cutting hair selling books.
Man, it just seemed like things was way more simpler then, man.
You remember that line, nigga? More money, more problems.
Oh, yeah, that big line. I remember that.
Yeah.
You know,
So there you go. See a couple of scenes right now. My shit is on Tubi. You can look at it. It's called Kill a Rapper. So I wrote it. I directed it. I edited it. I played the main character in that. Why did I take on those parts? Why did I do that? Because I had to make sure the story got accomplished, that it got seen. And so that is what I would push to a younger filmmaker or something. It might be elements that you might have to do that you wasn't ready to do. You know what I'm saying? And but are you gonna get your story done? Are you gonna be a creator and make that shit happen? Let's look at another scene.
Street cleaners. To the street cleaners. I'd like to thank y'all for coming out tonight. I want to welcome you to what I'd officially like to call the meeting of the street cleaners. cleaners. Clean. In closing,
Oh, hey, this is another thing. I was able to put my mother in this scene. And you know, that was really a moment for me. You know what I'm saying? If I could get back to the shot where you could see my mom, I was like, Mama, you could be in this scene. And she was like, really? And she came out and I did. I gotta find it. But it's in there. But look, my man said, what's the name of the movie? The name of the movie is Kill a Rapper, Killa, the letter A, rapper, Rapper. That's the name of the movie.
Well, if you need anything, don't hesitate to let me know.
Okay, oh, you know, I gotta take this off.
So basically, this little movie I created.
We're happy to have
Okay, cool. Well, I'll talk to you soon.
you. Okay. You be safe.
I'm just bouncing through it so that you can see that you can make your movie.
Brother Clayton? He's a new leader for us black peoples.
He not my leader. Somebody paying this fool. He just keeps saying the same thing in different ways.
I got your back because that's what a good wife does.
See, that's why I love you. All right, I'll see you in a minute, okay?
Our future depends on their voices to inspire.
That's what a good wife does.
Get to the point. I can't. Sometimes it's hard to fast
See you in a
forward.
minute, okay?
There you go.
There are young black men playing senselessly in our neighborhoods over this thing they call rap. They have talent. They can use their voices to inspire. We have to look out for the artists in our neighborhood, not build them up as rappers and then watch them be killed. Our future depends on us making it through that.
So as you can see, I make sure I had a theme planned throughout the movie. So you got the guy speaking like that, and it furthermore goes on. And it's basically about a detective who investigates the murder of a rapper, and as he does that, it turns his life into jeopardy. So and it's an hour long, and I created it myself, and I like to show this kind of stuff because it's not me just being a conversator, but it's also a liver. I actually do it in real life. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily something that's going to be like, oh my God, that go da da da. It's just, look, if you want to see a movie that somebody created, it's there. And if you in Tubi, you could put it on Tubi. You can get it from me. It's on my websites. However you do it, we're here. And so it was just a little work we did, man.
Calm down, bro.
Look, we got resources scattered. And I'm letting you know, you're not welcome here.
It's the last option, though. You know, I guess I'm just gonna do what I would do normally. I'm gonna go handle it myself.
So I want you to go to Tubi if you get a minute, and you can watch it. And that's actually on YouTube as well on my channel. You can look it up with the you can actually just write it in YouTube, Kill a Rapper, and you can watch it like that too if you ain't got Tubi, if you don't watch Tubi. But Tubi is just an opportunity for it to get a streaming platform out there to the world that wasn't available to us as younger creators. That you had to actually sell the product yourself, you had to actually create it yourself, you had to make it, shoot it, edit it, then get it to the people, and that just became a 9 to 5. So it might not, at certain times in the season, you might not be able to sell it on outside so much because of the winter, and the winter is heavy, and the winter is long. So now what that gives you is a time to go create new things, new thoughts, new ideas. And the fact that there's a thing out there called ChatGPT, that's really a great thing. I'm gonna try to do a thing on ChatGPT, not about the search element of it, but the fact that you can look up things and no one is gonna tell you no. So when you're a creator, you have to talk to other humans. You might talk to your mother, your brother, your cousin, your sister, somebody at work. You might talk to the fucking train person, the bus guy. But this is what creators do. So sometimes just asking other humans, and it's not that they're trying to stop you, but it's just a natural way of people thinking. They'll try to tell you no. They'll try to tell you why you shouldn't do it, how it won't work. That's not a good idea. What? And you got to go somewhere like to a grocery store and see people who sell products with weird names on it or something and stuff that you probably would have never thought, like, wait a minute, slap your mama seasoning. Who the fuck? So if they could sell slap your mama seasoning, I probably could make my movie called blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? But if you're talking to people who probably aren't creative or somebody that maybe don't see the same vision from your perspective, they just naturally going to say, nah, hell no, ain't nobody. Who want to see you know, whatever, and you thinking like, yeah, you're right. But if you got a place like ChatGPT and then you put that idea in there, it's not ever gonna say, get that stupid shit out of here. No. They're gonna say, "Oh, so you want to make a movie about gardening pickles?" Oh, let's pause on that. You want to make a movie about being a race car driver, but you only go up hills backwards, and it's like, cool, this is how you do it. And you sitting back like, damn, it's gonna really show me how to go up hills backwards and shit. If I want to make a movie, it's not gonna ever tell you it's dumb. It's not gonna ever tell you it's stupid. It's gonna give you all kind of safety shit. It'll give you things to actually make it come to life, and that's what creators need. Ways to bring it to life. It's not like you thinking of it and then it's like, okay, how can I not make that work? Your brain naturally starts saying, how can I make it work? So if it means you got to go to the fucking library to read all the fucking books in that thing, or you might have to go up in this fucking university to go sit around these people and shit and learn this shit. They might not be black people, they may be white people, whatever color, and you got to just deal with this shit. And you go in this little editing booth and you edit this shit and you learn a skill. Now you go and do it. This is what you had to do it. You know, it wasn't like it was easy. It was just walked up on you or somebody hired you and said, come on with me. You know, you make it happen. And so when you got Tubi sitting around, that is almost like a landing spot now. So it's now a location. So if you're a rapper or a singer, you know, you would say, I got to get my music on Spotify. You know what I'm saying? It's just there. It's a place now. So, you know, maybe it was the radio back when you was younger. And so it was like, we got to ride down there and catch the guy and say, here, play my song. Or maybe play a speaker, and then you know something. You thinking of things to make people hear it. So it's the same way as a film today. So Tubi is not even stressing about how it looked. They're not looking at you and saying, "Oh, you shot that with your cell phone. You can't put that on here." Or, "Oh, you shot that with a camera from 19 whatever the fuck. You can't shoot that. You know, we don't take movies like that. Oh, that movie's only 63 minutes. No, you can't put that up here. Oh, that movie's an hour and 95 minutes. You can't put that shit up here." So it's like they're not doing that. They saying, yo, bring it. And so they'll put you in a slot right here, and then you could put your movie up there. And that is what I'm saying. It's critical. You know what I'm saying? It's critical as being a creator, because you line it up like this. You got you, right? Yourself, and then you got your dream or your aspiration, right? And now you got ChatGPT. So just those 1, 2, 3, you got a story idea, right? Because you thought of it. You was like, we going up these fucking hills backwards, right? Bam. How we gonna do it? So now it's gonna show you how to do it. So now you got implementation, which means that's what Tubi don't do. I'm sorry, that's what ChatGPT don't do. It don't actually do the work. You got to get your ass up and physically do the actual thing that you thought you was gonna do. So you did it, boom. Now you pump your ass out there. You know what I'm saying? And now Tubi is allowing you to put your joint on there. So if you're a person that got the same gumption or the same fortitude or the same no stopping mindset, this is your time, because all the things I laid out is literally laid out. It's nobody to tell you no. You don't even have to talk to another human. You don't have to tell your parents, your cousin, your family. You don't have to tell nobody. You just wake up and then you go and you create. And then when you're done, everybody get to sit back and say, they can judge it any kind of way. You know, sometimes when people judge your movie, and people might not want to create because they might be like, I don't want people talking shit about my stuff. But what happens is you've put in so much time and effort to create, from the time you thought of that idea to the time that it's an actual physical movie that somebody can see, that you don't give a fuck what nobody say. You thinking about the work you put in. It's just like if you did some hours at a 9 to 5 and then somebody come back and say, hey, last week, you know what you did at work? You don't give a fuck. That week is over. You did it. It's in the belt. It's in the logs. So it's like, next time we're going to do it a different way, because I got another week to work here. I still work there. But you're going to have that finality of the past. So your movie get done, it's final. And you put it up there and people like it or love it or don't. It's like, so what? Because now you've learned that process and you on to the next joint. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to show y'all a couple more scenes from my movie called Killed a Rapper. It's on YouTube. It's on Tubi. You can check it out. Let me let y'all see the last little couple of seconds.
To do with the prisoners, I know there's been a few fatalities, but nothing the likes of what you're describing.
Man, so you think this just gonna all end easily, huh?
Oh my God. Son, what are you doing?
Don't call me your son. Put it down, Eric.
Hell no, put the shit down. Boy, are you crazy? Put the damn gun down, now!
You heard the doctor. We getting out of here right now. Give me your phone. Put it down.
Look, I'm sorry for making research that kills, but we're trying to do this for the black race, to keep it pure. And let it be known to those that have been part of this genocide that they will pay.
I should break your freaking neck. All the mayhem and destruction you brought to our organization?
Hey, be calm. This is no time to get angry.
We getting out of here.
Don't do it.
So as you see, the movie carries on, and they try to get intense to give you a little bit of compelling elements and all those things. And then when it gets out there to the people, they come tell you if they like it or didn't like it or whatever. The people will tell you words from the movie, just like they might be quoting a rapper sign, words or whatever. You know what I'm saying? If you saw earlier, I was like, fuck that motherfucker, fuck it. People will do that as they walk up on me laughing and shit like that. That was crazy. What made you? It's just all these elements into it. And lastly, I was not gonna. This is another like a bonus. If you got this late into the video, I was not gonna play the main character of this movie because I had hired a rapper. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm sorry, an actor. And the very first day of production, that actor didn't show up. So we out there ready to shoot the movie, and he didn't come. And so we like, what the fuck is going on? So the guys looking at me, the producers, they like, where's your guy? And I'm thinking like, shit, he's supposed to be here. He said he was gonna be here. So I'm calling the guy, like, he didn't even answer the fucking phone. It was like a weird thing. But people don't know you, so they really don't know what you're gonna do. They just say they're gonna do some shit and they don't think it's gonna happen. They don't believe in it. It's the same way. And you can't force that on somebody. You can't make them believe it's gonna happen, because most time they want to see white people involved behind the scenes. They want to see Caucasians in some element. And if it's no white people, then they're not gonna have the same level of commitment, because if a white person hire you, then you're gonna feel like, mama, look, I got work down here at the thing, and they call me this and shit, and I gotta wear this to get there, and you're gonna have a sense of pride. It was when it come to a black production, it was Tubi wasn't even at the time, it wasn't so big. It was it was like it was there, but you had to know about it. So now it's everywhere. But my point, the guy was so, I didn't know he was gonna do this, because I'm meeting him like you would meet anybody that you're hiring for a production or a job. So I didn't know him personally. I spoke to him. I spoke to his parent, because that's what he wanted me to do, speak to his parent. But then he didn't show up for the first day of the shop. So okay, cool. So my producer was like, Hood, what the fuck, what's going on? He's like, this your guy. And I'm thinking like, what, nigga, I'm not his big brother. I can't make him show up. So I was like, you know what? I'll play the character in the movie. I wrote the movie. I know every fucking scene, and let's do it. So my guy, who's a producer, he really don't know me like that. He's a little younger than me. We didn't grow up together. He just like, okay, cool. So I was like, shit, he locked in with me. So he told everybody else we had to shoot the movie. I'm the main character. So now I got to go and really dig into the storyline of this movie. And so eventually the guy called me, who was going to be the main character. And he was like, hey, man, I'm finna come. Yeah, my fault, man. I ain't make it day. And I said, bro, you fired. We can't keep you. What you mean? No, I couldn't make it the first day, because I'm like, you even fucking call us and tell us, like, yo, I can't make it, whatever the fuck. He was like, oh, man, because man. I said, bro, it's over. Because the people saying I look goofy because I hired you and you don't come on the first day. Who the fuck don't come on the first day and you don't tell me? So it's your business, whatever, beat it. So we moved on from the guy. And then he called me, matter of fact, about a year ago, like, Hood, whatever you got going next, man, come on, man, you got to put me in the car with it, man. I'm like, dude, you didn't show up on the first day. You murdered yourself on that. I don't know what the hell was going on with you, but you can't make me look dumb if I'm hiring you and you don't want to be there. And it's, at least just say it, like, man, I ain't interested no more. So make a long story short, I want to say that even if that happens, where the person that's the main character don't show up, what the fuck are you going to do? You're going to say the movie over with? You're going to say, man, I don't know what's wrong with him? Or you're going to play this motherfucking character and make sure this movie get done? And that's exactly what the fuck I did. And that's exactly what the fuck you see right here. That's me doing that. That's not nobody playing the character. I wrote this shit. I didn't expect to do it when I was writing it. I didn't expect to do it when I was hiring these people. But that's exactly me playing the fucking main character of the movie. So I put a bunch of other folks in the movie because I wanted to make sure it was other people in the movie. But that wasn't the plan. And so again, my question to you is, what doth you do if it don't work out? If it don't seem like it's gonna work out, what you gonna do?
No, I ain't around here no more. They just gotta keep missing me.
Well, at least you got that good old job to keep you away from here.
But man, I had to snap on my boss the other day at work, man. Yeah? He tried to embarrass me in the meeting in front of everybody, man. I went off on that bitch ass nigga, man. Fuck that motherfucker, man.
Bro, you still taking your meds?
And I'm gonna end it right there because when I did that scene in the movie, it was obviously a bunch of people that's on the opposite side of the camera looking at me. You know what I'm saying? So that probably was about day 3 of filming. And so when we do the scene, I did the action. Man, fuck that motherfucker, man. Everybody on the set was quiet. They was shocked. They had because they see me directing too, because I directed, so they see me communicate with everybody and do all that. So now it's time for the action. And when I did that character, when I did that action, everybody was frozen. They was like, I wasn't expecting that because this is my first time really acting in a movie. So I told my guy who was playing the character, I said, look, add these words. I said, after I do that, say, did you take your meds? So that wasn't in the movie. That wasn't written. I wanted to make sure that, because I saw the face of the people. That was when I did the action. You know, you playing in a movie, you're not really going to pay attention to the response of the people who just, you know, the production staff. But they was all shocked. And I could see it on their face. And I was like, damn, what the fuck? So I was like, add this to the same movie so that the people watching the movie won't be so shocked. You know what I'm saying? Because when you play the scene, it's like a moment when I freak out over this job and shit. But we wanted to make sure we kept people tightened up in the movie. You know what I'm saying? So I just said all that shit to just give you a little bit of motivation on what you can do to not be afraid to film, not be afraid, not be waiting on white people to give you a chance, waiting on white people to give you a job, waiting on white people to do nothing. Like, they exist, they got their thing going on. It's called Hollywood. You can go there, you can make movies now, but you got a place called Tubi. You got so many streaming platforms. You got your own ideas. You got a lot of Roku popping out here. You got all these ways where you can get your story out there now. And that right there is something that's uncanny, that's unprecedented, that is key to look at this time like it's like a gold rush. You understand what I'm saying? And you make sure that you put some effort into creating or effort into learning about it. You know, when I said Matty Rich had to go read all the books at a library, you don't even have to do that today. You can get online and learn 90% of the shit. You can come to Hood Films Toolkit, which I'll have in my description, and you can read a whole little free toolkit on what you could do to get started making movies today, right now. And Phyllis was popping. You also have a place like Tubi where you could put your movie and it could be what you created. It might not be perfect. It might not have this particular actor or that particular location or this amount of budget that you want. But the idea, movies is about the stories, the idea that you're trying to project. So that's what you can put out. So if you watch the end of my movie that I've been playing for you right now, Kill a Rapper, you'll understand what the movie was about. But I'm not going to tell you right now because I'll spoil it. You can see it for yourself if you get a minute. And the other thing is my other movie, which I was showing you, which was one of my first movies, Hood Life. That's also on YouTube. It was showing you my movies, you know what I'm saying? I would say put Hood Life and Hood Films behind it, because the way the internet is, there's so many people who've put the word Hood Life on the internet, my movie would be buried. So you could just look it up and put Hood Life and put my first and last name, Yusef Hood, or put my company Hood Films after you put Hood Life and something to pop up with my brand, because you know, I put it up there, you know, years ago that it was going to get swallowed up with the algorithm and the words going up on the internet, but that's nothing to worry about. So obviously the movie Sinners for me, Phyllis, is a good question. That was a superb movie. That's kind of off convo, but that's not true. It's kind of off direction of where we was headed, but it's not our combo. But he made that movie with a studio, which was Warner Brothers. They produced that movie for him and gave him, I think it was $90 million to make it or something like that. And it made the money back with a couple of days, which allowed him to have ownership in the story. So what's good, Shawnee? He gonna be owning this movie in a minute, you know what I'm saying, which is a good thing for him. So he'll have ownership in it in 25 years. I think he might be like 68 years old at that time. But that's unprecedented as well. So most times when you shoot a movie for a studio, it's their intellectual property, even if you wrote the script, because they're only gonna get involved if they own it, meaning that they'll own it outright. You'll only probably get a deal or a cut or upfront fee, and that's what it'll be indefinitely. That's why you don't see another Friday. You know how that movie Friday came out? It became a cult classic, but you don't really see like 8 versions of that movie, or Friday 3, Friday 4, because New Line Cinema, the company who owned it, that's their property. When he wrote the script, when Ice Cube wrote the script, he sold it to them. He said, y'all own this now. And they said, okay, cool. We're going to hire your production company, Cube Vision, to go actually film the movie. And so he said, cool. So he had the money to go actually make the movie happen. But when he made it a physical movie, he had to go hand it back to them. And then they took the movie and put it out to the world. So it's their property. They own it. You get a fee for being a person who created or work on it, but you don't own it. So with this movie, he'll have that beginning ownership after 25 years. That's what he's going to get. He's going to get the ownership back. Will it lose all the value in 25 years? He still will be able to pay it back to his kids too. And he said Cube just gets royalties, but he still has no say. Exactly. So now, and a lot of people have been wondering, like, damn, why is no other version of that movie? Because anytime he presents a movie idea to the actual owners, which is New Line Cinema, they keep telling him, no, we don't want that. We ain't interested in that. That ain't the one. So he just can't make one. You know, it's just a part of what it is if you work with other people and if they don't own something. So again, if I own a property, kill a rapper, that's my movie property. I made the first one, Kill a Rapper. That's my story. I can make Kill a Rapper too because I own it. This is my movie. I own the writers. I own the story idea. I created it, the copyright, everything involved with it. So I can make Kill a Rapper 2, Kill a Rapper 3. I don't have to ask anybody. I don't even have to have a budget. I could just make what I want to make. And you can put it on Tubi, or you can sell it yourself, or you can put it on YouTube, or you can do anything. But you own it, so it's not like that anybody you have to ask. So it's like your gym shoes that you wear, your shoes you have on. You don't have to ask nobody to put them on. You could put your shoes on at 3 in the morning if you want to. You could put your shoes on and walk into Boo Boo. You could put your shoes on and go do yoga. But you don't have to ask nobody, well, can I put my shoes on? It's up to you. If you want to wear no shoes, it's up to you. If you want to carry your shoes with you, it's up to you. So this is the thing that make those people who are creators. Now, we do know who Ice Cube is. He got fame from it. We know who he is. He got money from it. We know who he is. He was able to go parlay himself into other film companies and film jobs from making that movie. Plus, he is like a cult figure in the industry, so he was able to take his money and make a basketball thing with the, you know. So it's benefits from having production value coming from a big studio. But that guy who did Sinners, he made a masterpiece because to me, he brought all of the cultures into one movie. He didn't just make a black movie. He made a movie. He had Asians in it. He had white people in it. He had black people in it. He and Indian people in it. And he was able to put a segment of his story where everybody intertwined. You know, even if it was just at a juke bar they was going to getting drunk, he was able to intertwine all that, and then he made a vampire movie of it. So not even did he just put all those people together in this story he thought of, but he made a vampire movie out of it. So it wasn't even about just like race and racism and all this shit. He actually made a vampire movie, which was much more compelling and strong and all this shit. And then it took a long time for the vampire shit to kick in. By the time you watching the movie, it was like, damn, when this shit gonna start? And then when it started, it was like, what the? Oh my God, that shit was just, it's next level. And he just a great creator. And the boy who played the main character, Michael B. Jordan, if he don't get the Oscar, they should just close that shit up. If he don't get the Oscar for Best Actor, they should just take that shit and close it. And the girl who did the cinematography, she need to get Best Cinematography because the movie was so good. The best costumes, they need to get that. You know what I'm saying? The best editing to bring all that shit to life. You know, I mean, it was like a master class on the best creators of, and he know them, so he's been working with them in other movies and shit like Rocky and and the movies he did with the Black Panther. So he knew he had the best creators around him. And so they just gonna go right straight to the Oscar run. It was a masterpiece. You know what I'm saying? So having a budget from a major studio is also a good thing because look how many people you can touch with that connection. So, but we're not saying, or I'm not saying, don't do that, or that's stupid, or you shouldn't do that. I'm saying don't let that be the reason you're not creating because you're not connected, because you're not in it, because you're not around those people. Don't let that be the reason why you're not doing it. Of course, I'm into I said, okay, you said I'm not into horror films, so I never watched it. Yeah, it's aggressive. I mean, I ain't gonna lie to you. Phyllis Johnson say Tyler Perry. Well, Tyler Perry got his issues right now with the billionaire status he at and his relationship woes. So, but he does create at a high level, and he does a lot of dope shit, and his stuff is high end. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes, you know, people be a little bit off putting because it don't be, you know, maybe to some people's standards and shit. But you know, that's again one of those things that you have to really come down to is that you just have to make it yourself. If Tyler Perry ain't up to your standard, or if he don't do it the way you do it, you can goddamn it do it yourself. Now that's why these platforms are here. And then one day you could be the next Tyler Perry. Philly Johnson said, "I love the movie Sinners, but it lost me when they started river dancing, but not." Excuse me, but not really. It was a great movie. But yeah, and that's exactly the point I was making about him tapping into every culture in that movie. So you might not see river dancing when we chilling or going to the barbecue where we at, but that's people do it. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people do it. And at that time frame, he was trying to project that they were around each other. It wasn't like, you know, you had to drive way across town to see them. Like everybody was like right amongst each other. So, you know what I mean? And that's what people did. And at the end of it, when everybody was river dancing, man, you know, that's just me though, because when you watch a movie, you come up with all these things in your brain. But I was thinking of the river dancing showing that when you got bit or when you became a vampire, it's almost like you white. You became a part of the whiteness. You became a part of the white world, and now you're there. You're a part of that. You're a vampire now. So you coming to take shit. You coming to, but only time you affect people is if they let you in, and that's what we all do. We all let that shit in. You understand what I'm saying? And then it's a war when you let it in. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is just my depiction of what was going down in that particular segment of the movie. You know, when they started doing that, because everybody who was river dancing had became vampires and shit. So it was like, damn, what the fuck they gonna do in the house? And it was funny too because in that particular scene when they flipped back inside the house, the only person who had the, and this is why I was liking the fact that he used so many different cultures in the movie. The only person who had no fear was the Asian lady. So it was like about 6 black people in there, and even the main character was in there, Michael, his character, and it was time to fight, and they was getting the Molotovs, and everybody was like, no, no, don't go out there. She was freaking out. She's like, no, fuck that, my husband out there. They was like, calm down, calm down. And she was like, hell, fuck that, no, no. And everybody's like, look, stop, look, wait. And she was like, hell no. She lit that shit up, and she went and busted the door open, like, hell no. And I said, damn, that was brilliant writing. All of these black people in here, and we even got a hero already. He's the hero of the movie. Even he was scared. And she is the only one who had the power to start the fight. She said, fuck that, we ain't sitting here no more waiting. We finna do it. And that right there to me, I said, that's brilliant writing. And then it's brilliant casting because he needed her. And also she was a female and she had the most non-fear in that moment when you had to go and confront the vampires and she wasn't gonna sit in there and wait. And I was like, that's me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, even though she's a female and that was a female character, I was like, that's me. Like in my heart, I'm not gonna sit up in here with my back against the wall waiting. We're gonna go ahead and go forward. And if we get knocked upside the head doing it, that's what's gonna happen. But I'm not gonna sit here and wait for it. No way. You know what I'm saying? I can remember when I was a teenager and we were surrounded in some building during a party. We had to be like about 14. And the guys who neighborhood it was in, they knew the building. You know, we was up at that party and we was upstairs though on the second floor, and they were downstairs. Like, but they used to stand inside the little hallway part of that particular building and stand warm in the winter. And so we was young, we up there, and the rumor went around like, man, the gang downstairs, they gonna come up here and whoop our ass. And we up in there like, what the fuck? We don't have no parents or shit. The parents had dropped all of us at the party. So we was just stuck up in this party at the top floor. And just the rumor going around us at the top floor. So the guys never came up. They never knocked on the door. They never rang the bell. They were just downstairs in the chill part hanging with each other. And so we were scared as the fuck. And they was like, man, they gonna come up here, they gonna jump us, man. It's just 3 of us, and we got like 4 girls. It's like, what we gonna do? And I'm sitting back like, I'm not finna sit up in this motherfucker scared like this because we talking amongst each other. It's like me and the other dudes. And I'm like, what the fuck we gonna do? Nigga, I'm finna go down here. They're like, you can't go down there. What the fuck you talking about? I'm saying, nigga, we surrounded. What the fuck? We can't sit up here. It's just this mindset that we were talking amongst each other. We like 14. And so I said, fuck it. I grabbed my coat. I walked down the steps. And when I got to the bottom of the steps, and it was probably about 9 niggas in this motherfucking little hallway. They was standing there to get warm. And I busted a little screen this first door because you got to get to the second door where they at to get outside the building. And you know what am I gonna do outside the building? I'm 14. I don't even got no bus money. I'm about to stand outside and shit and just I had told myself, because you're a kid, I told myself as I'm walking down the steps and I'm leaving them, because I'm scared. I'm too afraid to just sit upstairs and wait for my mom and them to come pick us up. So I'm like, I'm leaving. And I walk down the stairs. As I'm going down the stairs, I said, I'm finna outrun all these motherfuckers. This is a 14-year-old mind. So I'm saying, whoever is in this hallway, when I get to that second door, I'm gonna fucking run. I knew where I lived from this place, but it was probably about 2 miles, 3 miles. You had to just, if it was straight down, matter of fact, but it was at night. You got to go through this people's neighborhood to get to your neighborhood. Probably like 2 different gang neighborhoods before you got to my neighborhood. And my brain is like, I'm just gonna run. And so I get down to the bottom of the steps of this hallway. All these dudes turning looking at me, and they seemingly look big as fuck, like tall as shit. And I'm trying to walk through these niggas. And one of my homies who I had knew as a teenager, as from grammar school younger, he had moved down there, but I totally didn't think about this shit. And he walked out of the crowd and said, Yusef, what's up, my nigga? What the fuck? And I'm sitting back like, how did God do this? How the fuck did God do this? He said, what the fuck you doing here? I'm like, they throwing a party upstairs. And he was like, what? He said, man, where you going? I said, I'm finna go to the crib. He said, you finna walk to the crib from here? He said, come on, man. I got a car now. I'll drop you off. Boom, 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 boom. I'm like, how the fuck? Nobody else said a word. Like all these other dudes that said a sound. I don't even know what they was going to say if my boy wasn't there. Rest in peace to him, because his name was Carlando. And he literally saved my life in this moment. Literally, because these guys is kind of my age, so they don't give a fuck that you by yourself. They don't give a fuck that you don't know the etiquette of the gang, nigga. You out here, and it's on. And so I was just having a no fear mindset, like that lady did in Sinners. Like, fuck that. Whatever the fuck finna happen, gotta happen. So I walked down the steps, and I get through the crowd, and my buddy walked out and was like, Yusef, what's up, motherfucker? And then he took me jumped in his car, he drove me to my crib. And then I didn't even think about it no more. I'm a little kid, so I go lay down, go to bed. My buddy the next day, he called me, he said, man, what happened? Man, we thought you was killed. We thought you was dead. Because my buddies that was still up in the party, they was like, we thought you died. Why ain't you call us and say nothing? I'm like, I never thought about it again. I was like, shit, party was over. My buddy was down here. How the fuck did you get home? I said, my homie was in the fucking hallway. It's just, you talk, and I knew him from hooping and being on the court, shooting ball and shit and just being outside. You talk to people, get to be cool motherfuckers. We were very cool, me and my homie who saved my life, Carlando. When we were very young, we used to skip school. Like, at that time, you could get out of school at 12 o'clock, but you had to come back at 1, and you went to school from like 1 to like 3. But after 12, we would ditch. Me and him, we used to have fun doing that shit. Like, hey, we ain't going back. So for the 2 or 3 hours of being out of school, but everybody else we'll go up on the train tracks. We'll go up, walk far as fuck. We was just doing shit together as little dudes because we was in the same class. But we was like, hell yeah, let's ditch. I would have got my ass beat the dog shit if my father would have called me. But I'm gonna hang with my boy. So he moved out the neighborhood. But when he moved out the neighborhood, he drove back over there. He had a car. But we was like 14, 15. So it was like, you got a fucking car? What the fuck? But I hadn't been in his car, nothing like that. He was just scooting through the hood, and he stayed back over that way. So he ended up dying in that car. That's why I say rest in peace to him, because the car crash had broke his, I did a chest bone or some shit like that. And so he passed away. And he died in that very car, the car that I'm speaking of. So he died at that time. So he probably was like a year or 2 later, he passed away. And that was my buddy Carlando. But he actually saved my life at that moment, at that party back in the day, when I was scared out of my fucking wits, because we was up there telling ourselves these dudes was gonna come up there and whip our ass, and it was crazy. But then when I saw that movie, I just correlated that moment with the lady from Sinners being the one who was the Asian lady, and she was like, nah, fuck that. We ain't finna sit in here with this door closed and wonder what the fuck for the door. Open this motherfucking door, and when she opened that door, they just, man, everyone out there from the fucking the river dancers came in that motherfucker to kick their ass. So it was crazy, and it was a good ass movie. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I would leave this video right here. So I appreciate y'all watching. We just did a whole whirlwind in this movie and all this shit. I gave y'all so much breakdown on me. We got a couple of statements though. I think I want to read this one. Where's it, fellas? I love the movie Sentence, but it lost me. Okay, Shawty Brown said, I like Tyler Perry, but also I'm tired and over sexual men and man scenes. Yeah. I'm not against it beginning to be, but it's just beginning to be too much. But yeah, that's a lot of things too. But I didn't tap into that element of Tyler Perry game because I guess it's people that fuck with him in that regard. But that's not my personal thing, but that's their thing. You know what I'm saying? And so, and the world accepts that. I think that's one of the level reasons why he can capture $1 billion, because he can perpetuate that kind of messaging in his stories. So that's the whole thing of this video here, is that the movies is allowing you to perpetuate your own story idea, your own messaging. So if you could make a movie through ChatGPT about this film director who tries to over sexualize his movies by making man on man scenes, and how it affects him in a negative way, and then he finally find his ways. He finally find his ways and say, you know what, this is probably not right. It probably shouldn't be this way. It should probably be more like this. And then he find a way to change, and then change that narrative that's going out, so it could make more people on the planet and bring more population to the earth. It's ways to get that kind of story out here too, where it can touch people like a Tyler Perry, and we can change him, but it come through media. It come through the messaging. If you pick the phone up and call him, he ain't gonna listen. If you tell him throw rocks on your YouTube channel, he's not gonna listen. But if you did a movie and he could look at it and say, this movie is about me, now it's a different kind of element, and it's not trying to play on him or disrespect him, but it's like, this the message you need to hear. And then you will see his next 3-4 movies probably with, wait a minute, damn, look at the impact. Did you see Tyler Perry's new movie? Look, he ain't have none of this in it this time, and blah, they Skippy. So I'll talk to y'all later. I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you for agreeing with me, Shawnee. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for subscribing. If you watched it all the way to its end, you'll see a little clip or video come at the pop, and a subscription thing at the end. And then you can watch the whole series of Black Outrage. And I appreciate y'all, man. Have a good day. I'm going to hit y'all later with some more joints. I ain't going to stay gone. We're going to be right back at it.